Okay, so I'm going to go over using the energy suspension bushing, installing it in the front mount of a CTS-V. Basically, you order from Energy Suspension this part number 3.2125, followed by either a G for a graphite impregnated bushing like this one, or R for a red one. I don't think it really matters. I don't know what the durometer is, but I don't think it really matters anyway. So you're going to get the bushing, and it's going to be about 3 inches long. The overall length that you're going to need is 2.4 inches long. This is the rev shift bushing here. It's just a little bit fatter here, but what you're going to do is pull this out of the stock sleeve, and this bushing is a perfect match for the diameter. So there's an easy way to do all this. What I did was I took actually this is the tool that I used over here. It's like a 2-inch PVC coupling, and then you'll have to notch out a part to get out of the way of the pinion flange. Then I used this reducer bushing, which was threaded, and I put this little 1/2-inch adapter or 3/4 to 1/2-inch adapter in it, screwed it in there and sawed it off flush. Then you just shove this in here all the way down, and then I used a 6-inch bolt, 1/2-inch bolt, and I put it through here and then slid it through the front of the differential bushing and just put a nut on the back side and pulled it out. As far as the bushing goes, like I said, you got to get to an overall length of 2.4 inches. This part right here, which is the inner bushing cord, is exactly 2.4 inches. So what you'll do is get some tape or something, and you can make a mark and just cut off that amount. Now the flange right here on the edge is a little bit thinner on the energy suspension versus the rev shift, but it works out just perfectly anyway. So don't count the flange. You want the total height of the bushing to be 2.4 inches. This core is going to be too long also, so if you take that to a machine shop, just ask them to put it on a lathe and they can turn it down to exactly 2.4 inches. It's what you want. The easiest way to do this, to remove this rubber core, would be to get this female 1.5-inch PVC pipe cap, and then you can put some tape around your bushing, drop it in there, stick your core in it, push it down in there, kind of use that as a guide, and just poke a 1/2-inch hole in it with your with the drill. So you should be able to use this pipe cap, and I don't think you'll have to notch it. And just put that on the front side of the diff bushing. Put this bolt through it, and it might be a good idea to put a piece of the rubber cap that you cut off on it, just to keep it so that you don't crack the plastic. Not necessary. Alright, so you'll slide that through, and that's inside the front diff mount. And then you put a nut on the back side, and it'll pull it into the cap. And once you get that far, you should just be able to pull it by hand. And then the bushing itself, you want to take the after you trim it, got to make sure you trim it. And I just use like a small handsaw with tape around it to use as a guide. Anyway, so you'll take that and you'll stuck it in the front of the bushing, or the front of the mount, the diff mount, and stick the other side in too. And you know, however you want to do it with the core, it doesn't really matter. It's not super hard. It actually fits in there pretty good. It's probably can't push it in by hand, but once you get it going, this bolt right here is the perfect length to pull everything back in and seat it. Just use some of the washers on it, and it takes just a few minutes. As far as trimming the length of the bushing, because the total length you want is 2.4 inches, so you want 1.2 inches from the base of the flange to the other end. So what you can do is get like a piece of sheet metal or something at the machine shop and have them, you know, just shear you off a piece, and then you can just run that around there and tape it to it and use that as a guide with your saw. It cuts pretty easily, pretty smoothly, but all in all, this thing just pops right out of the diff bushing, and it makes it super easy. The difference in diameter, this is a rev shift bushing, so you can see the aluminum core is a good bit thicker in diameter than this steel core of the other one, but the inside diameters are within about 1/1000th of an inch, and the inside diameter of this one versus the stock one is at about 4/1000th of an inch on a big old 1/2 inch diameter or larger bolt. So it's actually an excellent replacement. The bushing is cheap too on Amazon. I think I got that for 17 bucks shipped. So that was a used one from Amazon warehouse deals, and it actually comes with 2 bushings, so that's why I still have the other one here. I'm gonna give that to a friend, and it'll be good to go. But otherwise, if this cap doesn't work, then you can buy this stuff. But this right here is only about $1.50, and the bolt's about $1. The washers are pretty cheap. Get a couple of different washers. Get a big fat fender washer, a couple of smaller ones, and then just get in it. Keeps you from having to sawzall into the metal sleeve in your stock diff bushing, which is about the worst. Will this work to remove a creative steel bushing? Probably not. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work at all. If you need to pull out a thicker bushing, then you might need to step up to making something out of a piece of like 2-inch threaded. But even this one, the bushing, the rev shift bushing barely fits in that one. The rev shift bushing will not fit inside this PVC cap. It will fit in that one. So I was doing this kind of blind when I was shopping for all the parts, because I didn't know how much the sizes were going to differ, but all in all, it works really easy. You'll be laughing once you start taking it out, because it almost comes out on its own. Alright, good luck.